Unlock the dark secrets of letting go, a Stoic's journey at midnight in a quiet town. When the clock struck midnight, the dark whispers of the universe beckoned madness. A hidden truth lay buried beneath the moon's glaring gaze, waiting to be unearthed. Sam, an ordinary man, would soon discover that some secrets aren't meant to be uncovered. Eyes wide with a mix of anxiety and curiosity, he felt an inexplicable pull toward the old, crumbling mansion that had haunted his dreams for years. Every night, their eerie silhouette loomed larger against the inky backdrop, etched in shadows as dark as fear itself. It was more than just a structure, it was a Pandora's box. Legend had it that the mansion was cursed, stifled by the anguish of its last owner, a philosopher lost to despair. They said he had uncovered the profound mysteries of letting go, but at an unspeakable cost. The townsfolk huddled close during cold winter nights, exchanging daring glances and hushed breaths as they spoke of his final night. A cacophony of screeches and wails had sent chills down their spines. Sam tightened his grip on his flashlight, its beam piercing the darkness, illuminating fragments of the past. Each creak of the floorboards sent tingles down his spine. What if he found something that would change everything? What if it was all true? Anxiety turned to anticipation, and as he stepped cautiously inside, the scent of decay enveloped him, thick like a suffocating fog. Did he truly want to unravel this enigma? He hesitated as visions of twisted souls flickered in his mind. What had they let go of, and at what price? Just then, a sudden crash echoed across the empty hall, freezing him in place. Heart racing, he thought he heard a voice, faint but gripping. "You must choose, before it's too late." It sent a shiver coursing through him. He couldn't shake the feeling that something or someone was watching. There was a weight in the air, as if the very house held its breath in anticipation. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Sam's breath hitched as he turned the corner, heart pounding wildly. The walls seemed to warp and breathe around him, alive with secrets. Shadows danced like phantoms, conjuring images of the past. He glimpsed a worn leather journal, lying abandoned beneath a tattered curtain, its spine cracked like the mind of its owner. He felt a surge of adrenaline. Was this journal the key? Inside it was a world of shattered dreams and broken promises. What stories could spill from its pages? As he reached for it, the air thickened, and an icy gust swept through the hallway. "Let go," it whispered, an echo of despair that twisted his insides. Sam's vision blurred. What were these voices trying to tell him? Could they reveal the truth of his existence? The walls trembled, the past simmering just under the surface, threatening to spill over. Filled with urgency, he took a deep breath, ready to unravel the knot of time, to face the demons that had haunted him. And yet, a chilling thought crept into his mind. What if letting go meant losing himself forever? What if the mansion was more than simply a relic of sorrow, but a doorway to the unknown? Sam hesitated, his heart caught between desire and fear as darkness continued to weave its spell around him. The journal felt cold against Sam's fingertips, as if it were channeling the very essence of despair. He hesitated, heart drumming in tandem with the echoes of the mansion. Was he truly prepared to confront what lay within those worn pages? He could already sense the weight of the past pressing heavily on his shoulders, urging him to step deeper into the unknown. With a surge of resolve, he pulled the journal closer, its pages sticking together under the weight of years. A soft flurry of dust exploded around him, making him cough. It was a choking reminder of how long the secrets had lain dormant. What lay in store for him? As he fanned the pages, a strange, metallic smell invaded his nostrils, unsettling and familiar, like the tang of blood. Suddenly, a chill swept through the hallway, and the candle by the doorway flickered violently. Fear stabbed through him. The mansion seemed to awaken before he could process the sensation. Whispers filled the air, tangled with shadows. "You are too late, Sam, too late." They slithered around him, thick as fog, and raced down his spine like icy needles. "No. I'm not too late," he shouted, more to himself than to the voices. Clutching the journal, he leaned against the wall, feeling its sick pain. What would happen if he didn't act now? What terrors awaited him if he did? A single flicker of light caught his eye, shimmering in the distance, drawing him deeper into the icy bowels of the mansion. Compelled by an invisible force, he staggered toward the light, the journal clutched tightly to his chest. Shadows twisted and coiled, retreating from the beam. He could almost hear them whispering angrily, urging him to turn back. Sam pressed on, fear battling with an odd sense of purpose. The dim light led him into a grand parlor, furnished in a style long gone. The air here felt different, charged, heavier. Flickering shadows painted frantic, ghostly figures on the walls. Were they former residents? Victims of the philosopher's curse? Sam swallowed hard, instinctively stepping closer to the light. In its embrace, he felt an odd mix of warmth and danger, like the calm before a storm. As he approached, the soft golden glow revealed an ancient mirror, its frame adorned with faded carvings that seemed to write in his presence. A voice emanated from within, silky yet raspy. "Will you see the truth, or let it be? Let go, and unveil yourself." Ice gripped his heart, the choice driving a wedge between him and the sanctuary of ignorance. He studied his reflection, a twisted version of himself stared back. Underneath the layer of dust and dark shadows, he could see ghostly images flicker behind him. Faces of those who had once stood where he was now, souls lost in the abyss of despair. Tears brimmed in Sam's eyes. Was this his fate? To be another lost spirit bound to the mansion's sorrow? Then the whispers became shrieks, echoing through the parlor, drowning out his thoughts. "Choose, choose, choose." Each repetition clawed at his sanity, begging for a decision. He felt the journal start to tremble in his hands, vibrating with power, demanding to be opened. "No!" he screamed, shattering the intensity of the moment. But the heat of urgency burned within him. He needed clarity, he needed to know. What did letting go truly mean? Was it freedom or an invitation to darkness? Fingers trembling, he pried open the journal. The pages flew open, revealing an array of haunting illustrations alongside frantic scrolls. Words flickered into life as if empowering themselves just for him. But as he read those chilling lines, the mirror began to crack, splintering reality into fragments. Panic surged through him. Was the mansion alive, responding to his discovery? Before he could process what was happening, a blinding flash engulfed the room, and everything went black. In the void, something stirred. A strange light flickered like a heartbeat, echoing an ancient warning: you cannot let go until you face what you've become. What had he unleashed? And worse, was he ready to confront it? As the darkness loomed, one thought lingered. Relentlessly, either he would find freedom or plunge deeper into the nightmare. And that as when the first chilling scream pierced the silence. Sam gasped as reality slammed back into focus. The air crackled with tension, thick and suffocating, wrapping around him like damp cloth. His surroundings swirled into view. The parlor was now a distorted landscape of shadows, trembling on the cusp of chaos. The mirror's cracked surface reflected shards of his fear and confusion, but it also revealed something else: figures, perhaps the lost souls from the mansion's history, stood behind him, their faces twisted in rage and sorrow. He stumbled back, suddenly feeling the weight of the journal hard against his chest. What had he done? The words he read flickered in his mind, burning bright like a brand. You cannot let go until you face what you've become. A lump lodged in his throat, the weight of those words bore down upon him, and then he heard it again, the anguished scream that tore through the heavy silence around him. It came from the depths of the manor, echoing like a beacon of despair. Fueled by instinct, Sam turned toward the sound, heart racing, every nerve screaming for him to flee. But curiosity anchored him, pulling him slowly towards the eerie call. Had it been a ghost? Or worse, was it someone who still needed help? With every hesitant step, the shadows writhed, twisting as if they were alive, trying to trip him up or draw him back into their suffocating embrace. Sam took a deep breath, forcing himself to steady his mind. The journal was still open, pages fluttering in an unseen wind. Instinctively, he glanced down, and his heart raced at the sight of a new illustration emerging, a grotesque figure, half man, half monster, linked by unbreakable chains that shimmered malevolently. Face what you've become, the whisper pushed through the chaos, coiling around his thoughts as he took another step deeper into the mansion's heart. Each breath felt fraught with danger, every flicker of light a ghostly candle guiding him further. As he moved, the walls began to pulse, seeming to breathe in and out. The ledger of time was alive, a living testament to all that had transpired. Sam looked back toward the mirror, but the reflection was no longer just his own. The twisted version of him was now combined with the suffering souls, their eyes pleading, their mouths open in silent screams. Understanding hit him like a punch. Were they trying to warn him? Or were they the shadows of his potential demise? The scream echoed through the corridors again, more frantic this time, urging him along. Help me! The plea clawed at his heartstrings, reverberating within the tight chamber of his chest. Each thud of his heartbeat seemed to resonate against the walls. Sam had to go on, had to figure out what awaited him at the end of this nightmarish journey. He stumbled into a dimly illuminated hallway, a parade of dusty family portraits lined the walls. Their eyes followed him, empty, haunting, desperate. Unease churned in his gut. Every instinct told him to turn around, to escape this cursed place. But the scream intensified, a jagged knife of emotion cutting through him, compelling him to press forward. With every step, a warmth grew inside him, battling the icy grip of dread. He sensed he was close. Was it courage or foolhardy desperation driving him? As he reached the end of the corridor, a heavy door loomed ahead, slightly ajar. He could hear muffled cries, a mixture of pain and yearning. With a trembling hand, he pushed the door open, light spilled into the darkness, blinding him. The room inside was alive, swirling around layers of pain and hope. But before he could gather his wits, the door creaked shut behind him, plunging him into shadows once again. Welcome, Sam. The voice slithered through the air like smoke, dark and tantalizing. It sent chills racing down his spine. In that single breath, reality began to twist again. Something was waiting for him, something he couldn't yet comprehend. Would he find the rescue he sought, or would the mansion claim him too? As the shadows closed in once more, he took a deep breath, whispering to himself, no turning back now. And that as when the room began to swirl, unraveling before his very eyes. The world around Sam fragmented into a kaleidoscope of colors and shapes. The room once solid beneath his feet now spun like a wild carnival ride. He fought to keep his balance, his heart pounding against his ribcage. Was this a trap? The whispering voice lingered, curling around his thoughts, teasing him with promises of understanding, of power. Welcome, Sam, it echoed again, sharper now, laced with something sinister. He gritted his teeth, willing himself to believe he was in control, that he could handle whatever lay ahead. The light intensified, casting fleeting shadows that danced along the walls. He remained still, trapped between fear and fierce determination. For all he knew, the way to freedom lay right within this swirling chaos. The cries grew louder, synced with the pulsating walls, a symphony of sorrow dragging him closer to the epicenter of turmoil. "Help me! Please!" The voice morphed into a breathy gasp, urging him beyond the disoriented visions. Sam instinctively stepped forward. As he did, the swirling light peeled back its layers, exposing glimpses of tormented spirits suspended in time, each one a mirror of his own possible futures. Despair twisted their features, each face begging to be set free from haunting shadows. "Face what you've become," he murmured, the weight of the journal still heavy against his chest. A wave of nausea washed over him as he fought with the truth of those words. Was he already one of them? Was he lost before he even began? Before he could ponder this, the world shifted again. A crack appeared in the floor, light spilling through like a burst of sunlight in a dark cellar. A palpable energy radiated from the fissure, pulling him towards it with magnetic force. Sam was drawn closer, captivated and terrified by the glow that promised answers. "Step through," the voice whispered. It was seductive yet threatening, an invitation laced with consequence. Taking a deep breath, he leaned toward the opening, the familiar scream echoing in his mind, "Help me!" His resolve faltered. Did he have the strength to confront the darkness festering not just in the mansion, but within himself? He hesitated, the abyss below radiating an emptiness that clawed at his very soul. Suddenly, the room shifted again, and the crack widened, exhaling a gust of icy air that sent a shiver down his spine. Sam stumbled back, heart racing. He realized that whatever lay in the dark depths demanded a choice. It was not merely about facing the mansion's horrors but confronting the ghosts of his past, his regrets. "Help me!" The call morphed, twisting into a wail that echoed through his core. It was him at his lowest, the moments he tried to bury his failures, his fears. The shadows spiraled, the figures almost tangible now, merging with his memories, panic wrapped around him like a snake, squeezing tighter. He could either plunge into the unknown or retreat, allowing fear to claim him. "Sam." The voice shifted again, becoming sharper, panicked. "You must choose." With one last look around the swirling chaos, he made the choice. He stepped forward, plunging into the crack of light, surrendering to the depths beneath, or so he thought, but just as he leaped, a blinding flash engulfed him, a scream bursting forth from his lips. The walls around him twisted, reflecting back something he could not yet comprehend, something that sent a jolt of realization through him. In that split second, he caught sight of a familiar shadow looming at the edge of the light, a darker version of himself, grinning, chained, waiting for him to falter. The ground shifted again, laughter echoing around him. "This is only the beginning, Sam." What lay on the other side of his plunge? A revelation that could shatter or salvage him. The answers waited, tangled in the shadows. And yet, as he surrendered to the pull, the last echo of uncertainty flickered in his mind. What if confronting the truth is more terrifying than he could imagine? The darkness awaited. The blinding light enveloped Sam, shrouding him in its warmth, but a chill crept up his spine. Suddenly, as if emerging from a deep sleep, he found himself lying on a cold, marble floor. The brightness dimmed to an eerie glow, casting long, deep shadows around the room. The air was thick, heavy with anticipation. Was this freedom or another trap? He pushed himself up, brushing off shards of light that seemed to cling stubbornly to his clothes, remnants of whatever sorcery had pulled him through. Dread pulled in his stomach. It felt like he was being watched. Above him, the ceiling twisted and morphed into shapes he couldn't comprehend. Figures rushed past the periphery of his vision, vapors of lost souls that whispered secrets of past betrayals and choices better left unmade. Their anguish brought forth memories he had fought hard to forget. His parents' strained faces, broken promises, and the shadows of friends lost in life as chaos they surged forth like a tide ready to consume him. "Welcome back, Sam," the voice echoed, now tangible, wrapping itself around him like a lingering perfume. It came from every corner of the room, yet he couldn't pinpoint its source. "You chose to see beyond the veil. Tell me, what do you seek?" I seek to break free." His voice rang out against the hollow walls, strong yet shaking. "I'm not here to play your games." "But games are the essence of the struggle, aren't they?" The laughter felt softer, almost mocking. "You cannot escape who you are." The shadows twisted further, encircling him, tightening like a noose. Panic fled in his chest. "I don't want this. I don't want to be a prisoner like them." He indicated toward the restless spirits that lingered, their hollow eyes filled with despair, a reflection of choices made under duress. "Then make your choice, Sam. You're at a crossroads," the voice said, alluring and cruel. In the depths of the room, 3 doors appeared, ethereal and shimmering. Each one pulsed with its own energy, beckoning him forward with promises only half-formed. To the left, flickering shadows swirled, whispering secrets and lies, tempting him with glimpses of power and vengeance. This door hinted at the darkness within him he had tried to hold at bay. The middle door glowed softly, a soothing light like the first rays of dawn. It promised healing, redemption, but he knew such paths weren't without their own demons. The right door throbbed, enveloped in a swirling vortex of tempestuous energy, chaotic yet exhilarating. Would it release him from his pain, or would it drown him in it? "Which one will you choose?" the voice taunted. "Each door holds a key, each a truth waiting to be unveiled." He took a deep, shuddering breath. The grotesque laughter of the unseen shadow hung in the air like a smothering fog. He was at an impasse. Step forward and risk losing himself or succumb to the pull of fear. As he reached out towards the glowing door in the center, an urgent whisper broke through the noise, like a siren cutting through a storm. "Sam!" Came a familiar, desperate cry, filled with anguish. It felt like his own name, torn from his past, weaving through time. It was Jessica, the girl he had loved, the one he believed he had failed. The ground beneath him vibrated, the doors shifted, blending shadows and light into swirling chaos. The soft call of his past seized his heart, forcing him to confront the very essence of his choices and their consequences, but at that moment, the truths he had long evaded surged to the forefront, threatening to drown him. Step forward. Stumble back. Whatever he chose, he had to make it quickly. Time was running out. Choose wisely, Sam. The darkness may be just the beginning. The air shimmered with tension as Sam's hand hovered just before the shimmering middle door. Jessica's voice seemed to pierce through the chaos, reverberating through his mind. "You can't ignore me, Sam. Help me." The urgency in her tone struck him like a physical blow. How could he turn away from her cry? Doubt clawed at him. He could feel the shadows creeping closer, eager to pull him into the depths of despair. He shuddered, grappling with his emotions. Power, redemption, chaos, which was the right path? Each door taunted him, twisting his insides into knots. The whispers became louder, blending into a cacophony that threatened to drown him. "Choose." The voice boomed, drowning out everything else. "Make it or be consumed." His heart pounded, and with fiery resolve ignited by Jessica's plea, he wrenched himself away from the middle door. If healing meant confronting demons from his past, he wasn't ready for that kind of reckoning yet. Instead, He found himself drawn to the tempestuous right door, the one that throbbed with chaotic energy. It called to him not with deception, but with the promise of escape. As he stepped forward, he felt the ground beneath him shift. The shadows hissed and recoiled, as if they resented his decision. The door swung open, revealing a swirling maelstrom of colors, captivating and terrifying. He had no clue what awaited him inside, but he stepped through, his blood roaring in his ears. Suddenly, he was plunged into darkness. The cacophony faded away, and the chaos of colors faded into an inky void. He felt weightless, suspended in time. Was this what freedom felt like? Or was it merely another trap? Before he could ponder further, lights blinked back into existence like fireflies emerging on a summer night. He stood in a vast expanse, a barren landscape scattered with remnants of memories, crumpled photographs that fluttered like moths caught in a breeze, empty chairs from forgotten conversations, and cracked mirrors reflecting distorted images of regret. Items associated with significant moments of his life enchanted yet tormented him, and there was Jessica, her figure appearing not far off, illuminated by a soft glow. But when he reached for her, she melted into the background, drifting away like smoke through his fingers. Panic surged within him. Jessica. No. The landscape shifted, revealing two paths winding through the chaos. The crumbled left path, littered with the debris of dark choices, and the right, flanked by soft light, though he knew it held truths he wasn't ready to face. Sam's heart raced as he surveyed the scene. Which would lead him to find her again? Your choices are yours to make. That familiar voice echoed once more, resonating from the shadows. Their mocking laughter circled around him, creeping into his mind. The memories surged forth again, more vivid this time. The day he had lost her flashed before his eyes, her laughter, their dreams, all the promises they had made. But now, they lay in tatters like so much refuse in the wind. The weight of loss pressed heavy on his chest. He felt like he was suffocating. Choose. The urgency surged once again. The longer he hesitated, the further Jessica faded into the void. Sam clenched his fists. He couldn't let her go again. The choice wasn't just about escaping darkness or confronting his demons. It was about doing what was right. But as he started to move, the ground trembled violently beneath him. The shadows twisted in fury, and the flickering memories threatened to consume him whole. Sam, a fractured whisper echoed, muddled and haunting. You have to decide before you lose everything. Could he brave the darkness within to bring her back? Or was this a futile effort destined to trap him in despair? The paths beckoned, yet time trickled like sand through his fingers. Choose before it's too late. What lay ahead felt uncertain, yet the shadows loomed ever closer. The ground quaked beneath Sam's feet, a low rumble that resonated through his bones. The shadows writhed, eager to tighten their grip on him. He needed to act, and fast. The path to the left beckoned with darkness, that familiar, terrifying comfort of his past mistakes. The right path glimmered faintly, a promise of truth and perhaps the chance to save Jessica. His heart thundered in his chest. Fear gripped his lungs, making it hard to breathe. Choose, Sam. The voice boomed once more, echoing in his mind, the urgency dripping with menace. He hadn't felt this kind of pressure in a long time. With clenched fists, he stepped onto the right path, guided by the faint glow at its end. Each step felt heavy, like wading through thick mud. The warped echoes of lost memories nagged at him, each whispered name sending a chill down his spine. Jessica. He tightened his jaw, forcing the images of doubt out of his mind. As he moved forward, the air grew charged, thick with anticipation. He could feel the memories swirling around him, the laughter of shared moments, the warmth of her touch, and the pain of their last conversation that echoed in his thoughts. He couldn't let those memories become shackles. I'm coming for you, Jessica. He whispered through gritted teeth, pushing through layers of despair. Then, he was thrust into blinding light. A figure loomed before him, cloaked in brilliance. It stood at a distance, shrouded in mystery, but its aura almost felt familiar. His breath hitched. "Who are you?" The figure shifted, revealing a face that was a mirror of his own. But there was a depth in its eyes, a haunting sadness. "I'm your reflection," it spoke softly, yet the sound echoed, reaching into the darkest corners of his soul. "You have strayed too far from who you truly are." His heart sank. How could he face this version of himself? "I'm trying to save her." The desperation surged forth, raw and unapologetic. "Are you? Or are you merely running from your truth?" It stepped closer, the light pulsating. "To find Jessica, you must first confront what you've lost within yourself." The words cut through him like a knife. He felt his chest tighten, memories flooding back, regrets, guilt, burdens he thought he had buried. "No. I can't do this now. I haven't the time." "You have no choice, Sam. Time is a construct, it bends to the will of your heart." The figure raised a hand, the shadows recoiling, as if in fear. "Face your truth, and you'll find her waiting for you." "What truth?" Rage built up in him. "My truth led me here in this mess." He could feel the darkness swirling at the edges of his vision, threatening to reclaim him. "Every fragment of pain is a mirror of your choices," it clarified gently. "You must confront each shard to heal. Or else you abandon her forever, doomed to roam in darkness." In that moment, he realized the weight of what lay before him. The prospect of redemption was terrifying yet oddly liberating. He felt the pressure mount and, with it, a flicker of hope ignited within him. Could confronting his past free him? Could it bring Jessica back? With a deep breath, he took a step forward. "Show me," he demanded, resolved to face himself, willing to carve through the chaos. The figure nodded, and suddenly, memories crashed around him, each moment a rush of color and sound, joy and sorrow. The light enveloped him, and for a split second, he glimpsed Jessica's face amidst the chaos, her eyes pleading and fierce. But just then, the ground trembled violently again. Shadows called closer. "You can't escape, Sam. This is your reckoning." The voice hissed. The landscape began to crack and buckle as he fought against the tide of despair surging toward him. And in the distance, he heard Jessica's cry cutting through the cacophony. "Sam." The path ahead blurred into uncertainty. Would he brave the unfolding memories of his mistakes to find her? Or would he succumb to the shadows threatening to engulf him once more? "Hold on, Jessica!" he yelled, determination pushing through his veins as he forged ahead. What awaited him in the swirling memories? The battle between his past and his future loomed, and he had no idea which would emerge victorious. Memories crashed into Sam like tidal waves, each one dragging him down into the depths of his own despair. He accessed moments he had locked away, guarded like a fortress. Laughter turned to anguish, happiness twisted into regret. Jessica's face flickered through it all, her laughter, her anger, her love, each image clearer than the last, but riddled with the uncertainty of what lay ahead. As the darkness thrashed at him, shadows leaned forward, reaching hungrily, pulling at his limbs with icy fingers, whispering taunts about his failures. "You did this," they hissed, an insidious murmur that tried to penetrate his resolve. "You pushed her away." Panic simmered in his gut, but he forced himself to stay on course. He had to delve deeper. "Show me!" he shouted into the color-soaked chaos. The figure of his reflection smiled sadly, fading into the background, merging with the swirling memories. Suddenly, he was transported to a sun-drenched day at the park. Sam and Jessica laughed as they chased each other among blooming flowers. The air was sweet, and their hearts had no burdens. But then the scene shifted, morphing into another memory. A fight erupted. Voices grew raised, accusations sliced the air. "You never listen to me. You only care about your work." Jessica's voice echoed piercingly through the fog of nostalgia. He could feel the sting of her words piercing his heart, the heavy weight of truth falling upon him like a stone. "Stop!" he shouted, grasping at a fleeting memory, desperate to halt the relentless tide. "That's not who I am anymore." But deep down, he knew he had been that person, that he had allowed his ambition to eclipse the love that mattered most. "No." "Then prove it." The shadows roared back, almost laughing at his pain. "Face what you've buried." The world around him shifted again, pulling him deeper still. The shadows twisted into the shape of lost friendships and broken promises, each one a reminder of part of himself that he had buried under layers of great and spirit-crushing reality. He saw his best friend, the man he hadn't spoken to in years, expression filled with disappointment, a distinct betrayal palpable in the air. "Sam, you left. You chose to isolate yourself," his friend's voice rang out, echoing with the weight of truth. "You are your choices." With every bruise of memory, Sam felt a gas rising in his chest, the ache of guilt threatening to rip him apart. He wanted to claw at the shadows, push them back into the void, but the darkness only laughed harder as if feasting on his pain. "Jessica needs you. You have to let go." The cloaked figure emerged amidst the tumult, its presence grounding and irritating all at once. "Every moment you cling to shame, anger, regret, you drift away from your truth. Confront it." "Enough!" Sam bellowed, rage rolling off him like thunder, the weight of loss now unbearably heavy. "I will not let her go. I will fight for her." Where the ground shook violently once more beneath him, something inside him began to crack, and in that crack, a tiny sliver of light appeared. Tiny at first, but it pulsed with urgency, multiplied, and spiraled outward, splintering the darkness. "Then step forward." The figure urged, raising its hands toward the light. "Choose allowance over denial. Stand tall, stand strong." And with frantic courage, Sam did. He pushed against the waves of pain, reached for the light, letting his heart guide him toward the truth buried behind the shadows. Each step was agonizing, but he pressed on, ready to confront his past choices. But just as he felt close enough to hold on to that light, the shadows surged, roaring in furious anger. "You will pay for this defiance." They howled, clinging to him like a vice, dragging him back into the murky depths. "Jessica!" he screamed, his voice swallowed by the chaos around him. In that moment, a single thought sliced through the confusion. Could unearthing his truth mean losing Jessica forever? The ground rumbled ominously below, an impending storm brewing as the shadows loomed closer, ready to drag him into eternal darkness. Would he be forced to choose between the haunting pulse of the past and the promise of a future? Or would he summon the strength to push through, uncovering truths that might finally bring them back together? The shadows writhed, twisting and coiling around Sam like serpents, each whispered promise of despair pushing him further into the abyss. His chest was tight, panic clawing at his throat. The fear of losing Jessica became a roaring tempest inside him. "Do you really believe you can save her?" A sinister voice echoed from the darkness, smooth like silk but laced with venom. "You think this light holds the answers? You've lost her trust, lost her love." With every syllable, doubts crashed into him like waves against the shore. Sam clenched his fists, struggling against the pull of the shadows. Could he ever reclaim what he had lost? A part of him screamed that he had to try. The haunting images returned: Jessica's laughter, crying, disappointment, her empty chair at dinner, her hollow eyes during their last argument. "Enough!" he shouted, his voice ringing out with the force of his resolve. He pushed back against the shadows. "I won't be a prisoner of my past any longer." The shadows recoiled for a moment, surprised by his defiance, as if the light he fought for spurred their fear. "You think this is a simple choice? Every truth you uncover leads to your pain. Would you rather live in the comforting lie?" They hissed, their voices dripping with mockery. Sam's heart thundered. What if they were right? But even amid the chaos, a flicker of hope ignited within him, pushing him straight into the heart of the storm. He yearned to feel the warmth of love again, to replace the bitter chill of regret. Suddenly, the cloaked figure re-emerged, its presence demanding attention. "You must decide, Sam," it urged, the intensity in its gaze growing. "Will you drown in the shadows, or will you fight to rise above them?" The ground trembled beneath him. He made his choice in that overwhelming moment. With all the strength he could summon, he stepped forward into the pulsating light. It enveloped him like a warm embrace, illuminating the shadows, revealing them for what they truly were: fragments of guilt, shards of remorse, but not entirely unfounded. In the search of clarity, the shadows faltered. They became less threatening, reflecting the pain he had buried deep within. He was faced with images of moments that truly defined their relationship, the good and the bad. The choice was his to confront. "Face the truth," the figure called out, urging him on. Each step toward the light felt like breaking a barrier, freeing himself from the chains he had forged. Sam gritted his teeth, determined to reclaim his destiny, but just as the warmth of the light began to wash over him, a deafening roar shook the ground. The shadows lunged, trying to drag him back into the depths. "You can't escape. You will suffer," they screamed, their voices merging into a horrific cacophony. "Jessica!" he cried out again, his voice sharp with desperation. It was the one thread connecting him to the surface. As the world around him began to blur, Sam realized the truth he chased held perilous edges. Could he handle the weight of what he might uncover? The choices he would have to make to mend what he had broken. The light flickered, and just at the brink of seizing it, he felt himself teetering on the precipice of his own abyss. Would he embrace what lay ahead, or would the shadows claim him once more? Without warning, a piercing voice sliced through the darkness. "Are you ready to face the consequences, Sam? You've come so far, but the hardest truth awaits." At that moment, his heart raced with a sense of dread. He had to understand what price he might pay for his truth. Would he emerge with a chance to heal, or would he plunge deeper into the void? The answers awaited as the light ignited around him, blindingly bright and full of mystery. What was the ultimate truth that lay ahead? Sam felt a swirl of emotions rip through him as he stood at the threshold of the light. It beckoned with promises of hope, but also threatened to expose the depths of his despair. He took a breath, grounding himself despite the chaos in his mind. With a pulse of determination, he stepped forward. The light enveloped him, illuminating the shadows, forcing them to retreat. Amidst the chaos, Sam recognized fragments of his past, each moment a thorn in his heart, but also a piece of a larger tapestry that told his story. The warmth of the light wrapped around him, soothing yet invigorating, igniting a fierce resolve. It urged him to look into the eye of his darkness. "You don't have to do this alone," he whispered to the air, half in fear, half in defiance. Jessica's voice reached him, a soft echo in his memory. "You can rise above," she scattered like sun-drenched petals. "You just have to remember who you are." He focused on that voice, tuning out the menacing whispers of the shadows with each step he took deeper into the light. Images cascaded through him, their shared laughter, those soft, lazy afternoons, and yes, even their words of hurt. Each memory cracked open a wound, but they reminded him of what he needed to fight for. "Jessica, I need you," he called out, the longing in his heart spilling over. The shadows rippled and twisted as if they flinched at his resolve. "You think she will forgive you?" they hissed. "You abandoned her when she needed you most." "No," he screamed back, refusing to allow despair to swallow him. "I abandoned myself. And I can't lose her again." With each moment, he felt lighter, the burdens of his past peeling away. The light was growing brighter, pulsating with energy, wrapping around him like arms of love, lifting him as he let go of pain and disappointment. As the memories tangled with hope, he realized they weren't chains but strands weaving a new path, a chance for redemption. "Face the truth," the cloaked figure urged, its shadow flickering in the light as embrace. Sam finally understood it wasn't merely about letting go, but letting in, letting love, letting hope, letting the truth take root. The truth wasn't a dark abyss but a bridge that led to healing. In the depths of pain lay the promise of growth. Finally, as the warmth and light washed over him, giving shape to everything he lost, he embraced the ghosts of his past. Each whisper of regret transformed into resolve. "I am not what I was," he declared, feeling the shadows fade as he released his grief, frustration, and guilt. "Are you ready to find her?" the figure asked, the voice now gentle and coaxing. "Yes," Sam breathed, and as he stepped further into the brilliance, a vision opened before him. There she was, Jessica, illuminated in the expanse, beautiful and ethereal, eyes bright with understanding. "Sam," she whispered, reaching out as if to bridge the space separating them. "You came back." "I'm sorry," he replied, his voice thick with emotion, "for everything. I can't lose you again." Tears streamed down her cheeks, but she smiled, a glimmer of hope sparking between them. "Finding yourself is the first step." And in that moment, Sam felt the chains of his past shatter completely, the weight of guilt dissipating like mist. He could feel himself radiating with newfound clarity and purpose, ready to embrace whatever the future might hold. Together, they stepped forward into the light, hand in hand, leaving behind the shadows that once threatened to consume them both. Sam knew the journey wouldn't be easy, yet he felt ready to face whatever lay ahead, heart full of love and determination, stronger now, unyielding against the darkness. As they moved beyond the threshold, laughter rippled through the atmosphere, happiness echoing among the walls of the once terrifying mansion. Sam had chosen light over darkness, and with Jessica by his side, he was finally free. Don't wait even one more second. You need to subscribe to the channel right now so you don't miss our next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, and let us keep growing this incredible community. Also, flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. Tell us how you felt about Sam's journey, and remember, share this video immediately with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. This is the moment to show your support.